You want to start a garden in 2024? Here's a couple things you want to keep in mind. First, you want to think about your area. And I'm not talking about your zone, I'm talking about your physical space. And would a container garden suit your needs? Or would a raised bed suit your needs? Or do you have enough space to have an in-ground garden? All of these things you want to take in consideration. Then how much money do you want to spend? If you're going to go raise beds, you can spend hundreds of dollars on each one. But you don't need to. If you're going to use containers, you can spend a lot of money on fancy containers, but you don't need to. If you're going to go in-ground, how big are you going to go? These are things you want to consider, and they're all personal preferences. Another important factor is the distance from your water source. How much direct sunlight will be available for the kind of garden you're choosing? Most of your food crops are going to require at least 6 hours of direct sunlight. 8's better, some prefer 10. Some do pretty good in afternoon shade, some do pretty good in morning shade. These are all things you want to take into consideration. You also want to think about what kind of method you want to use. You want to till up a plot? You want to do a hugelkultur? You want to do a lasagna garden? You need to take all of these factors into consideration. I think we want to do the least amount of work for the biggest return. One of the reasons I'm using the deep mulch garden. Almost no weeding, very little watering, no fertilizing, kind of a lazy person's way. I found the most work you're ever going to have to do is harvest. I can show you how. You can do this too. If you want to do a market type garden, nice straight rows. You want to do a Three Sisters, that's companion planting. Once you get going, we can talk more about that. You want to do free form. I'm kind of all about free form. We got a lot of volunteers that come back now that we've been doing this a while. And wherever we got room, I put a plant. And if you do deep mulch, then you have that living soil, and you can get more plants in a square foot than most people used to talk about. Gardening is a solitary exercise. Even if you have help, you're still going to take care of your stuff better than anybody else can. Being a solitary activity, it allows you to come out and commune with nature. You get your hands dirty, you get to sit with all your plants, you just get to be peaceful. Next, you want to think about what you like to eat and why you're growing food. If it's just to supplement your diet, that's one thing. If you're planning to grow a bulk of your own food, that's a whole nother thing. And that goes to the area you have. How much space are you going to need for that particular kind of food that you're choosing? You may also want to think about what's going to give you the biggest bang for the buck. A tomato grown properly will produce pounds of food off of one vine. A sweet potato, that'll produce leaves and a bunch of tubers. Your collards and your Swiss chard grow very large, and you can harvest them continuously throughout the season. Your lettuces are the same way, but they're not very filling, and they're very hard to store. Where pole beans, once they get going, they'll produce a lot of beans for you. So when you know your sun, you know your water source, you know what kind of garden you want to have, then you want to look at what kind of plants you want to plant. Are they cool weather crops? Are they warm weather crops? Are they perennials? Are they annuals? Are they biennials? Looking at a couple popular fruits and vegetables will give us an idea. Knowing your first and last frost dates are really important when you're planting a garden. You can grow well into the winter, but you have to have some kind of protection. But let's get back to the cool weather crops versus the warm weather crops. The rule of thumb is about that 70-degree mark evening temperatures. Now all your cool weather crops, they grow just fine below that. Your warm weather crops, they're pretty much just going to sit there till it warms up for them. Now right here, we've got onions, we've got beets, turnips, and spinach. We've been eating off of those all winter long. Your annuals grow back from seed every year, like your beans and your corn. And then you have your perennials that come back each year. Say your rhubarb, your asparagus, your strawberries, your blackberries, those sorts of things. And believe it or not, when they're in the right environment, sweet potatoes and tomatoes are perennials. They're both vining plants, and they'll just keep right on growing. And then you have your biennials, and they go to seed on their second year. And that would be onions and beets and the like. But there is something tremendously satisfying about growing your own food, coming out to the garden, picking it off the vine and eating it right there. Until you've experienced it, I cannot explain it. And to me, it's all worth it. Something a lot of people don't consider when they're first starting a garden is it is full of living things, and it does need to be tended. I don't grow anything. I just create the environment so it can grow, and I help tend it. If you go on vacation, good chance you come back and you're not going to like what you find. Growing your own vegetables is very rewarding. And I suggest you get a container, put some soil in it, drop a couple seeds, add a little water, set it in the sun. You'll be amazed at what you get. Till next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.